where my store is located, which is literally right over the bridge. Now they were wanting to build a sidewalk so pedestrians can go back and forth. That shut down for 8 months, and not only did it destroy my business, it destroyed the whole block. There's nights where I come home and I'm just so tired that I don't even speak to my wife. So you have to think about the sacrifices you're gonna have to make in order to get to the position that you want to, because it takes time. First thing I did differently is not go to another smoke shop owner that I know as a family friend for advice. They made me go in circles, and that was a lesson I will never forget, because I was genuinely looking for help, and they thought saw me as competition.
You're listening to Street Smarts with Chad Wade. Real talk for real shop owners.
All right, everybody. So we're back, and I have got somebody here. I keep getting conversations from people who want to tell me all the time how easy this fucking business is. But I got somebody to talk to you about it point blank. G's in my Discord here. I'm going to let him introduce himself, tell you about where he's from, where he's got his shop, the whole 9 yards. But I want you to know, man, he's in my Discord. He and I we've had plenty of conversations, haven't we, G?
Oh, yeah. My man, a lot.
And G is on the ground floor doing his thing. He's boots on the ground. He's in his shop, every day, every other day?
Well, very frequently, man. Pretty much every day. Yeah, just about.
So G he knows exactly what's going on every day, knows his numbers guaranteed. And he also knows what's in his building. He knows it. But that's why this is important for you to be listening to. And so I'm going to shut up, and I'm going to let this man tell you all about himself. I'm going to tell you who he is, where he's from, where the shop is, what's the name of the shop, and how to get a hold of him should you got some damn problems with what he had to say. And so, G, tell him about it. Introduce yourself and tell him where you at.
All right. What's going on, guys? My name is Ghan Ilias. I own and operate G Smoking More based out of North Fort Myers, Florida. So we started this business about 3.5 years ago, and I tell you, it's been a long journey, and it hasn't been easy at all, for sure. So it's one of those things where a little bit about myself. Previously, before I even opened the smoke shop, I owned and operated. My family owned and operated a convenience store in Fort Myers, Florida, for about 27 years, called the Grab and Go Food Store. And everyone knew us there. I pretty much was raised in that store from the age of 7 till my college days, basically. So having that prior retail experience and just my previous endeavors, I've worked in corporate such as like Walgreens, worked in restaurants such as pizzerias and whatnot too. So, kind of getting all that experience, wanting to open a smoke shop after my parents decided to retire, because I had to figure out what I wanted to do. And, when I dabbled into that too, I was very excited, because prior to that, I'm very, fond of this industry. There's a lot of different avenues that I kind of, have knowledge in, and I, use myself, and that benefits me and my health. And also kind of just, I find interest in, it's not work, it's a passion of mine. So, for that being said, starting off, man, I tell you, it was, it was a lot harder than I thought it was. I had everything laid out, try to keep myself as organized as I could. You're going to want to do like a checklist in a way, because there's a lot of moving factors, a lot of different avenues, such as, getting your LLC, permits, making sure if the space is appropriate for you and just like the shop itself. There's a lot of different factors. It's not just like, oh, we found a building that's vacant, let's move in here because, we're seeing these other shops doing really well. Well, did you scope out the area? Did you check to see if there's the competition around? What's the traffic? What I mean by that is how many people are living in the area, or how many people travel through that intersection per se. So,
hey, how did you find that out?
Me?
Yeah.
Oh man, dude. So I Googled, honestly, to be honest with you, Chad, that's when you came in, my man. That's when I was like YouTube smoke shop video guide on YouTube or like Google, and Chad Wade came up. And I'm like, huh. So I didn't know who Chad was. I'm like, no shit. So like, it was like a blessing in disguise, because, with your videos, Chad, I just kind of followed all the step by step, what is it, guides that you had told us about. And from there, I just kind of, did a checklist, and one by one, slowly started knocking one out. But, there's also obstacles like the build out, for example. So once I got my information from you and just my research, like I've had issues with my build out, showcases not being delivered on time, or this slab wall didn't get properly fit. Now, you can obviously hire an individual to build out your store, but with it being my first business, my family, they helped me build it out. So, my father-in-law, my father, my wife, and mother-in-law, you name it, they've all kind of pitched in. And, my father-in-law is an electrician, so he has handyman kind of, skills. So I got benefited there. But so yeah, it's just like, just you think you're gonna open at this date, but there's always gonna be setbacks. And then once you open, like here we are, all the hard work is done. No, it still has to go. Like where's your the marketing? Like you have to market, you have to see, what is it, stay open and pretty much have those, first couple weeks, months, kind of build up to where customers are knowing that you're present, and depending on how much marketing you do. So yeah, there's
How many days? How many days was you open that no customers come in?
oh man, there's been weeks went by that I didn't have customers because we are a very seasonal town here in Fort Myers, and I did open in January, which would be like peak season for us. So I was trying to get ahead by, like, trying to get those seasonal customers that come every year, and they know the shop and they tell their friends, and get that ripple effect going out of town, and then build that customer base locally. Because with even me having a convenience store with my family prior, I'm in a totally different demographic across town. The family store was in the south end of Fort Myers. I'm in North Fort Myers, which I don't know anything about. I'm new to the neighborhood. I'm trying to get familiar and also build a community and build trust. So yeah, just I just it was really tough because the first couple months, obviously you add inventory, you get the basic essentials. There's whole different departments you can go with too. So depending on how big your store is, or what you want to start with, I would definitely recommend getting obviously like some disposable vapes, incense, small items to where it gets people's interest to come in and stuff too. I wouldn't really focus on getting bigger ticket items like a Puffco, for example, or such as a high end stuff. You want to bring in stuff that's not going to break your bank within your budget, and also that's going to kind of fill up your store. You kind of want to build that illusion effect, fill it up, fluff it up, make it look nice, presentable, and just build your customer base. Ask them what they want. Hey, what can I do for you? What can I get for you? What do you like? Oh, what is your shop that you go to now? What do they do for you? I can probably match that. Excuse me, things of that nature. So there's lot of different avenues you can go with, but that doesn't stop there because there's no guarantee of them coming back. So how are you going to bring them back? I can go on and on and on, but it's not as easy as just turnkey, turn the lights on, putting a smile on, and it's a
Putting
lot
the
of different
open
stuff.
sign out.
Yeah, it's not as
I had a guy, G, tell me that anybody could do it.
I mean,
Yeah, they can
yeah,
with the proper
but
education and just a little bit of luck, and well, a whole lot of luck. Because I'm telling you, man, I mean, as many shops as I've built out, I have had 3 totally fail. Totally.
yeah,
And I mean,
all right,
there's little factors, man, that can screw your whole shop up.
big time,
And I mean,
big time.
location. But I had 2 of them in prime locations. It was just they was hard to get to from the drive,
Right,
and the parking wasn't the best, and there wasn't like-minded businesses around it.
sure,
And that's how I learned about having the proper businesses around you rather than you being the anchor.
I got you.
And
Well, you too.
once I learned that, man, I didn't have any other problems.
No, for sure. And you had mentioned 2 valid points too. So about your 2 stores, even with it being in prime locations, it was hard to get into. Well, going into year two, here we are, year one, and I'm slowly climbing, slowly building clientele, and things are looking up. And here comes year two, where my store is located, which is literally right over the bridge. Right over the bridge that I have is downtown Fort Myers. Now they were wanting to build a sidewalk so pedestrians can go back and forth.
Oh,
Well, that shut down for 8 months. And not only did it destroy my business, it destroyed the whole block, both the north end and both the downtown end. So, with that being said, too, I just opened the business. Business credit's not that good. The big banks are not going to help you if you sell hemp or any sort of, accessories. They don't like to hear that. And then here I am. You have to disclose that information, if you really want to do it the
yeah,
right
because
way.
they
And
can
then,
walk in. They can walk
or
in and check.
exactly. So you really have to disclose it, make sure all the documents are up to date, make sure everything's A to Z. You have to have a meticulous plan to present. And even then, that doesn't even get accepted. So, with that being said, here I am. What do I do? So, like, I couldn't go to friends and family for, like, even like little just micro loans or nothing. I was kind of stuck in a predicament, and I still haven't established relationships with my distro to in order to give me inventory to kind of hold me afloat and pay later type deal on consignments. You can build relationships like that too, but it wasn't established. So that really drained me. That itself, I think I lost a lot of weight. I was very sad and depressed. It felt like everything I did everything in my power to be successful, and I was just being let back, and there's nothing I could do. FDOT, which is Florida Department of Transportation. I emailed them, emailed the Congress members, emailed the city. No assistance for us business owners. So here we are. They have immunity when it comes to any sort of like litigation or like suing them or anything, and I have no power. And here's no power given to me. And even with your insurance, business insurance, there's also certain policies have what is it? Certain like features
Limitation.
like limitations, but they have like this in the policy. They have this thing where there's like construction insurance. So there's like construction in front of your business. Hey, I'm losing sales. I need this is the reason why. You can make a claim, and they can give you like a small loan to hold you over. Even then, that's still nothing, but that's better than being left out to dry type deal. But I didn't have that situation. So here we are. So what do I do? There's nothing. So store slowly losing inventory. I'm slowly, financially just not being able to support myself and going in the negatives. Credit cards are racking up. It's getting maxed out. What do I do? I have, a family. I have, a wife, two children that I have to provide for. What do I do? So like those situations will pop up because just because it's all sunny and glorious right now, those rainy days come. What goes up comes down, just like gravity. There's always like a sticking point. Like I don't know, it's like a sticking point, like a plateau, and you really gotta ask yourself, like, do you really want to do this? Do you really want to put in the hours and really sit there because you can't hire employees? You're stuck. Payroll can't be paid. So it's a lot of different factors, and I went through all that, and
You went
thankfully
through it early.
very early, my friend. It was not like
Yeah,
year five. It was year two. And here we are. Year two, you're still establishing customers, your
your feet
product.
underneath you in the second and third year.
And it got swept underneath me, and it got swept me, and I couldn't get back up. It was like getting stuck in quicksand type deal. That's the kind of
Right.
analogy I can give you.
That's
You
the
know?
truth.
And it's like quicksand. So anyway, thankfully here we are, year three. I just did everything in my power. I got really heavy with the TikTok content, heavy with the Instagram marketing, heavy with networking with local businesses that are in my area that would work with me or collaborate. And you had mentioned the Plaza. The second point, you had mentioned about location and having like-minded businesses. I am very blessed. I'm very thankful. All my neighbors are on board with me, and not only do they support me, I support them. And where I chose my store, there is multiple restaurants, an ice cream parlor that's been there for 52 years. Other established businesses that have been there for some time, and we've built like a work community. And with that being said, this past I like to say about a month and a half ago, we just hosted our very first Plaza 41 car show that was hosted by myself and other tenants in the plaza that generated about 350 to 400 people to come that never knew our plaza before. So, it's like building community. Like, me, I just I took that alternative too, and just to kind of really amp up the awareness of our plaza and other like other businesses and myself, because I felt, I told myself nowadays, and just how everything is, we are stronger together than we are individually. Doesn't matter who you are, as long as as long as you're a good person and you want to do well in life and want to be there and support the community, it's a no-brainer. So if you can collaborate and be that kind of have that kind of a mindset, it will really will benefit you too. So yeah, like there's just a lot of different avenues that can happen, and you just got to put in the hard work. It doesn't they don't call it growing pains for nothing, right? So you got to go through them, and there's a lot of growing pains, and then even then it's just you're gonna have that growth spurt, and then it's gonna stop. And what can you do to elevate? What can you do differently than the other shops around you? Because there's competition's heavy. It's also saturated. You got to understand location, great, but what about your competition? That's like you have you know three or four smoke shops within a mile or two radius. What are you have to figure out those situations too. So yeah, it's not it's just
It's not for the weak at heart.
no, no, and it's one of those things where like, you're working in store. So now I'm in a place where I've been blessed with two amazing individuals that just get it. They have the experience, they have the customer service, they have the personality, they have the dedication and the grit that I spoke about, and basically just would like to be matched. And I don't have to you know I'm just blessed, my friend. I'm just blessed with good individuals that really do well. And here I am in a position to where I don't have to worry about the in-shop experience. I can focus on the marketing outside, network with other individuals, go there. Hey, how you doing? We're over here. This is G Smoking More. These are my associates. Have this. So it's allowed me to, take a breath, and it's allowed me to kind of elevate the business and in a way that I've been wanting to for some time now. So it took a while, but you have to have, for myself, build a team like Mr. Chad, build a team of individuals, trusted individuals that will, just get the job done and be appreciated too, because that's my
And they're hard to
family.
come by too, man.
I've been
You
blessed.
are when you use the word blessed. I was just sitting here thinking to myself, how right he is, how right you are. That is the proper word, is blessed, because finding employees now or finding team members now is harder than ever.
Absolutely.
And no, it just
Absolutely.
seems like after COVID, let's keep it real. After
Sure.
COVID, what taught people that they didn't have to work, they decided not to,
Right.
and then their work ethic got shot in the foot for some.
Yep.
I can't figure that out either. But I mean, that's for another talk. I mean, we could talk about that all day. But I just
All
feel
day.
like the type of person trying to get in this industry to work is few and far between. If you watch my videos and you own a shop, manage one, work in one, or you're trying to open one, you need to be inside my Chadway TV Discord community. This business is changing fast, and products are changing faster. Regulations are changing even as fast, as well as margins getting tighter. And too many owners are trying to figure it out alone. One good conversation can save you a ton of money. Click the link in the description, join the Discord, introduce yourself, and get in the room. Stop running your shop alone.
And and as a business owner too, as a smoke shop owner as well, that also operates a smoke shop. It's one of those things where I try to lead by example. They just it's really refreshing to see individuals that are part of my team, that are willing to go above and beyond and really hold themselves to a high standard, not because I said so, because they see me and see how above and beyond I go, not only for them, not only for our customers that come into the shop, but anybody in the community that have known me for some time, or anything that I can assist with or bring positive light to. And it's a blessing to be part of a team that is this logo, my friend. And it's great. I'm just yeah, it just takes time, but you have to want it. It's one of those things where you have to want it. It's not one of those, it's not a thing where you open the shop and it's gonna, just be all good. It takes a lot of time. You have to build trust. establish yourself? What is different from how do you establish yourself from other smoke shops? How do you build that trust? What is something unique, something different? Everything's so very the same, but what is different? So if you can think about what's your different, that will work for you.
Right, right, and not so much, not so much different is because I don't want them to misunderstand what you're saying.
Sure.
You're talking about carving out your own place.
Absolutely.
Where
Absolutely.
they might be thinking, okay, well, it's a smoke shop. How much different can it be? A hell of a lot different.
Well,
And
let me
I
rephrase.
mean, like you may have candy on one side, like what I'm talking about, and then on the other side may be smoke shop stuff, and then you may have, like we was talking before we started videoing, you may
Sure.
have spray paint, for sale on the back and art supplies.
Absolutely.
You may have other gift supplies. You may have a smaller footprint for the smoke shop,
Right.
and then the rest of it be something different because that's what you knew your community wanted.
Correct. I should have rephrased it that way. It's more of a uniqueness to your shop, your culture that brings in
Unique.
those
That's a good
people.
word. Uniqueness.
So
That's a good
my
word.
apologies. Yeah. So it's not different. It's unique. So
Right.
don't think that differently. Don't think that negatively. It's a positive thing because that is what brings them in. Yourself, whoever's operating that brings them in. That's people have their have individuals that they love to see, or just like it's just an experience for them. You're selling not only products, but you're selling experiences. So
Right.
yeah.
I got a buddy of mine. Well, he is a friend of mine. Him, his sister, and his girlfriend, or his wife now. They put in a shop out in Las Vegas, right?
Oh, nice.
Neon City, really nice place. We was just talking about Vegas, that it made me think about him. And
Sure.
he did something that I thought was off the wall. One wall of his store
Sure.
is nothing but neons, and it's
Wow.
an experience to walk in. Neons are not cheap. They're not.
No, they're not.
Now he's got real neons. He's got some LED neons, so they're not nearly as expensive. But he's wired them all in where there's not wires hanging everywhere, and the shop's kind of an odd shape anyway. But he got a real good deal because of it. But I can see that wall right this second, and I've seen a lot of shops. I've seen a lot of shops,
Sure.
but his wall stands out to me. That's his carve out, and it's Las Vegas, so it's the neon city anyway.
Right.
And so, and then when you walk into his, to get into his spot, he's got this great big neon, like real, I mean, it was expensive, neon sign up there, and it says Neon City Smoke Shop, blah, blah, blah. And he's in a strip mall, and so there's other businesses around him. But his neon sign blows everything else away.
Is this the same Neon City that was in our what was it? We were in a video
Yes.
chat a few months
Yes.
back. Was that the same
Yes.
Neon City you're talking about?
That's him.
Yes. Right
That's
on.
him. Yeah, he's also, now his main line of work is he's a detailer. He's a car detailer.
Oh, nice.
But where you think, Mercedes and Hondas, he's doing Testarossa Ferraris, he's doing, Lamborghinis, he's
high-end
doing these
stuff.
high-end Porsches. And I'm thinking, are you serious, man? Because he's showing them on his Instagram and things. But that's his claim to fame. That's his real claim to fame.
Sure.
He's a auto detailer. But he's got this shop. He's bloated away there too.
That's awesome, man.
And so, but that goes to speak to what you're just talking about, carving your niche out and what makes
Sure.
you different.
Correct.
And he's got some other products in there. He's pretty well known for his disposables and things of that nature, there. And
Right.
so he does real well with that. But I mean, those signs, oh my God. And everybody comments on them, he says. It's always talks about the signs. And his wife's a really nice lady, and his sister's a real nice lady. And Spanish girls, man, really nice people. And but they talk about these signs. That's all they talk about on his Instagram and things.
Okay.
And that's what stands out to people. And so I think that speaks to what you were talking about just then, is carving
sir.
out what's different about your spot. you
Exactly.
know. And so every now and then, you know, he has some problems with one of them, and he puts another one up so that it's always the walls full,
Full. Right.
you
Smart.
know. And so it looks really good. And so I think that's what's important. But you got to constantly, you just like what you said, you carve out what makes you different,
That's it.
and that's what it takes. And I totally agree. And then, you know, he doesn't have a diverse mixture of product. It's all smoke shop, you know, related, but
Sure.
it's those signs. It's the signs.
Well, he's in Vegas, so it's like, people go to Vegas, for like certain landmarks and stuff too. They want to see the sign, they want to see this. So, that could be his like, landmark in a way, that wall,
Oh yeah,
so
man. Yeah. His
so
custom Neon City sign up there on that wall too. But now his sign outside, golly, I can't even imagine
nice.
what that cost. I can't tell you how many Ferraris he had to clean for that.
A lot, my friend.
A lot, a lot. I promise.
Uh-uh.
I promise, man. But they got a nice little shop over there. But I think that goes to speak to what you were talking about there. Hey, tell
Yes.
me this. So
Yep.
I'm not. I don't want you to tell me how much you put into it to get started. I don't want. I'm not asking that. What I'm asking, it's not inexpensive to get started, is it?
No.
But it could be if
Yes.
if you had a small spot.
It could be if you had a small spot.
I mean, I started in a flea market. Gee, I started in a flea market.
That's hey, listen, that's great because flea market's small, it's affordable. If you can get, an affordable booth and there's a lot of traffic, that's what you want. You want to get your name out because you're just starting out.
Yeah.
Unless if you're starting with a budget, if you're already known in the area per se, let's say they've known you for, entertainment purposes, you were an artist or like, just in the area, they know you, maybe use that to your advantage, draw people in and just kind of be like, hey, I have a shop here now. Come check me out anytime. You used to see me play. Check us out. We'd love to take care of you. Things of that nature. Just you want to build, but being in a small scale, you can do it. But when it comes to, let's say, a commercial plaza per se, you have to get approval. Is it, like here in Florida, I could not get into any sort of Publix plaza. Why? Because Publix has a clause in their
Kroger's
leases
is the
where
same way.
correct. Yes, same thing. Because it's the clause and basically pertains, it is not family oriented specialty shops. We fall under like gun stores, pawn shops, sex stores, specialty stores. So they don't want those in this plaza. So approval from the landlord, number one. Number two, what kind of like lease is it? That's the one thing you want to look at. Triple net, is it like it's there's a lot of different factors. So from there you would
And
have
they
to.
should educate themselves about the different types of leases, correct?
I agree. I agree. So look, just saying the most common is triple net, and that means it will increase every year. Are you willing to do that? Are you willing to see what it costs to, just to get in an occupancy license? And then you have to think about permits for your build outs. You have to think about a lot of things when it just finding a location. Like it's yeah, it's
Yeah, you don't just come in, set up some displays, and
no.
hang your shingle out. It's not like that, man.
You have to pick out a theme. You have to pick
Yeah,
out a theme. You have to pick
but
out a
but
vibe.
some of these guys have some lofty ideas
Sure.
about how easy it is to do. Exactly. I know how you feel. And when they tell me this,
Ah,
I had one guy paid me several dollars to tell me how wrong I was about how easy this is.
well, then do it.
That's what I told him. I said, "Well, then, man, let's just get started, man. Let's find it. Let's do it right now. Let's find you something and get you opened up. Well, I got to do this. They all got excuses, man. They all got
Blowing
excuses.
smoke.
But
Yeah.
you know how that goes. But I'm just saying, in your experience, though, I mean, and there's family issues too, man. Because when the shop's
A lot of
open, you
family
almost got to
issues.
be there.
So look, you mentioned family issues. I definitely, that definitely took a big toll on not only myself, my wife, my kids. Like there's nights I'm missing family time. There's nights where I come home and I'm just so tired that, I don't even speak to my wife. It's just more of like a passing, and, if you really have a nice family or really, that means something to you, that's going to take a toll, my friend. So, you have to think about, the sacrifices you're going to have to make in order to get to the position that you want to, because it takes time. So, and it's one of those things where like, I would talk with your significant other and make sure you guys are both committed, because, you as an individual can definitely have all the motivation in the world, but there's nothing worse than having a significant other that is not supportive because they disagreed with the decision as a whole. And you have to remember too, it's not just, just you're not just considering yourself. It's a family decision because ultimately you're providing for them. If that's your situation. If not, just want to think about just other factors that are, that you would have to take in, which if you guys ever want to contact me, you're feel free to DM me on Instagram, or I'll leave a link with Chad or something to where he can let me know and we can talk more in depth. Where, but yeah, there's a lot of decisions, because there's a lot of sacrifices to be made if you take it seriously, and if you do, the results will show. It's one of those things where it speaks for itself, and that's where I feel like I'm in a position to where the work is finally starting to pay off, and and I'm in a place where I'm getting some recognition and getting the momentum started. And it's nowhere near where I would want to be, but I'm very happy and very blessed that it's going in this direction because
And how many years? How many years?
I'm going on 3.5 what is it? Yeah, 3.5 years now. Three and a
Yeah,
half years
so
of
it
business.
wasn't overnight.
No, not at all. Not at
And
all.
how many if we're just randomly guessing,
Sure.
have you missed any birthdays for your
Yes.
family, your kids?
Yes.
Yeah. Have you missed any relationship deals, with your wife?
I think I disregarded them. It just went through one ear out the other, and it's not. I did it out of spite, and don't think of it like that too. Don't do that, guys. But it's one of those things where, like, I just forgot because you just got so much in your head. You try to keep it organized, you forget. It's not one of those things where it's an intentional thing. It's a
It is
lot.
what it is. Yeah, exactly. But I mean, how many meals have you missed with your kids?
Oh, I can't
Can't
even
even
tell you.
count them. Can't even
No,
count 'em. You
nope,
know, have you missed any family functions?
absolutely.
And how many more will you miss?
I mean,
Whatever it
I
takes.
hope whatever it takes for sure. I hope it doesn't conflict with what's important. So, but no, listen, whatever it takes because you're gonna have to make those sacrifices in the very beginning and throughout in order to stay consistent because you have to get you have to get that name out there, get the brand out there because it's not just you. It's not like where when Chad started, if whenever he started, it was not it's not as it wasn't as competitive back then as it is now, and now
Oh
everyone
no,
knows.
God
And
no!
now,
Nobody wanted to be in my business back then in 2007. No,
no,
nobody wanted no part of this.
so here we
No,
are, 19 years later. It's a new animal. It's
yeah, it's a whole new animal, man. And
so
we had really started before. We had an online store before, and
sure.
we had it 2 years before that, and we were up and running. But I mean, I, if I knew now what I knew, if I'd known then what I know now, I don't know. Gee, we'd be having this conversation.
I feel you. Same here.
Because I'm telling you, man, this is not for the faint at heart, man. And if you got
No.
kids and or you got a wife, and it's tough, isn't it? It's
So
tough.
let me rewind a little bit too. Going back to the growing pains as well. Year two, not only with the bridge closer and all those troubles that I had of going crazy, we also had regulation changes, my friend. So here in
Oh,
Florida, so regulation change is a big factor. So why is it a big factor? I just invested XYZ into these products because they
yeah, don't
sell.
tell it. Don't tell it. Your wife may see this. Don't tell it. Don't tell it. You get in trouble.
No, it's okay. No, yeah, probably, but it's okay. Anyway, we tell the truth. We tell the truth, Chad. That's how we do it, right?
I know it. I
So,
know.
what it is so anywho, I invested XYZ amount of products, but overnight they didn't even give us a notice, no weeks, no nothing. It's gone. So here we are. Overnight, it goes from okay to sell on the shelf to a Schedule 3 to a Schedule 1, whatever schedule they want to make it. So that's something that you have no power over. That's something that your sellers don't have power over. It's just what they do. So what are you doing? So what does that mean? You have this much money stuck. You can't sell it. What do? They're not returning it. You're stuck. So here's all that money that's tied up here. How's the cash flow going to happen? The operations are going to get mixed up. Your plans that you pre-planned is now, ruined. So it's a lot of factors like that too. So not just with like just the kratom, the hemp. You have just new packaging. You have to be much more simple packaging and whatnot too. So it's just like it's always changing. So you have to be on your P's and Q's. You think you're selling this product is doing really well, absolutely, but you're ordering XYZ, but next thing you know, it's banned. Are you prepared for that? Because that's going to be very hurtful, like it hurt me. Because yeah, that was rough. That was rough.
Well, I mean, so to speak on that, November about this hemp,
Yeah. What are you
and
gonna do
like
then?
and that's at the federal level. So because they're going to schedule it, I mean, everybody's going to have to get rid of it,
Yep.
or you're only going to be able to purchase it in state. And then how many processors do you think that's going to be? Few and far
Crazy
between.
amount. Yeah.
Few and far, and it'll be expensive.
Yeah.
So I mean, because states have that right, they did marijuana that way forever, and
Right.
and of course now the government wants to legalize that, but I don't think they're going to do that with hemp. I really think in November it's going to be over, and then a huge market where we've made quite a bit of money is going to be
Gone.
gone. And I think right behind that's going to come,
Well,
and I fear that right there, because it is in Kentucky, January 1st, it's over, and
That's
so
crazy.
we're not going to have kratom to sell, all because of 7-0.
right.
And so they have thrown the baby out with the bathwater here, and we know the date that it's happening. We know it, and they're not even talking about fixing that issue. And they just charged us this past January, $2,000 to be able to even sell hemp
Blah.
per
That's
store.
crazy.
Per store. So do the math there for old Chad,
a lot.
and that's not funny. And then of course
No.
we're only going to get 10 months or 11 months of that year. And then they're going to do away with it here in this, the feds are.
Right.
And so now we have to be very concentrated about what we're buying. And we have to be very careful of that, even here in the wholesale. And, look at the date today, it's May. So, I mean, we can do the math. You got 6 months,
Right.
and we're praying that we'll have it all gone by then. And so now we're very pointed as to what we're buying. And so as a retailer, I can only imagine how you feel, because I'm already going through that too.
Yep. Just trying to keep my composure at this moment. It's more or less, it's coming, right? It's what we're predicting. I mean, they've stated that it's coming, but it's just trying to maximize what I can at the moment. Just kind of keep that composure, and just already trying to brainstorm and figure out how I can pivot. That is
Right.
the thing. So
And that's the word too. That is the word, G. You're exactly right. Is being and I think that's another trait that successful shop owners have, is being able to roll with the punches. I'm in Muhammad Aliville here, in Louisville. So we always, everything's a boxing analogy. And
for
so,
sure.
and so you got to be able to roll with the punches. You got to be able to pivot. We call that the rope-a-dope here. And, hey, look at this, pow, right in the mouth, and we
For
have
sure.
to be prepared to do that,
Right.
And so I totally believe, I'm not worried about it, because I believe the mushroom products and the Blue Lotus is going to take over, and I think we're going to be fine.
Yes, sir.
And I totally 100% believe that. But an unseasoned shop owner could be left stuck with a ton of merchandise that's scheduled now, and could be sitting on a felony and don't even know it.
Yeah.
And then it's all, and and I always tell these people, guys, it's important to stay on top of the legislation, stay on top of the news as it, purports to us. And the old Google phone here, you can set up Google alerts, with what's going on in your industry. Like, look, first thing right out of my industry.
Wow.
And I
Wow.
mean, that's on my top thing, because I have done it so much, and I look up things so much about it. And then there's another one, about mushrooms.
Oh, Yeah,
And,
they're
and
all
so
over.
I have looked at it so much that this thing knows exactly what to show me. And that's the good thing I think about these cell phones is that if you'll just pay attention and you join the Discord, that's what we talk about in there as well.
Sure.
You're able to know what's going on, especially in the Discord that's free, costs nobody nothing to even be a part of it. Unless you want to. I mean, you could pay to have top tier access, but that's not the point. But if you don't stay on top of it, you're screwed too. Wouldn't you agree?
Yes, 100%.
Hey, and it's easy to
100%.
go to jail in our industry, isn't it?
Very easy. Very, very easy. Yeah, they don't take it lightly, my friends. They definitely get
And we're
down
low hanging fruit. They know where to come get us at any given time.
100%.
They can come
100%.
right to the shop, just wait for you to pull up before you even unlock the door. You in the Crossbar Hotel.
Yep.
And they don't care, but they just doing their job,
Exactly.
and all you have to do is stay on top of it. But there's a lot of lazy entrepreneurs out there that don't want to stay on top of it. You know what I'm saying?
Well-
And then when these guys tell me how easy this is, that drives me insane, man, because I know damn good and well it ain't easy.
No. You lose. I lost so much sleep.
If you could go back and start over, what would you do different?
Oof.
Because I know exactly what I do different in the retail. You go first. I'll tell you after you tell me.
What would I do different?
What would you do? What would you do different from start? How about from the start? What would be the first thing you do different?
First thing I did differently is not go to another smoke shop owner that I know as a family friend for advice, because let's just say they made me go in circles, and that was a lesson I will never forget, because I was genuinely looking for help, and they saw me as competition, and let's just say I went around a few hurdles extra than I needed to.
The first thing I'd do different is I would find a smaller location.
Yes.
I would not have gone to the big location that I went to first.
Yes. Don't mind me asking, how many square foot was it? A lot.
It was over 3,000 square foot.
God bless you, Chad. Where's the bourbon, man?
Well, let me tell you, man. So it was in an older building. Our rent, believe it, $1,200
For that building, for that unit?
because it was an older building and it was going to take some work to get it up to snuff. They was going to give us They gave us 3 months to get it up and running. I should have known right then how bad it was. And we didn't even have display cases. Can you imagine how many display cases it took to fill that room up? Now, the good part of it was, is that it was divided off in the front. There was about 600 square foot in the front, and it had some door closures.
Sure.
And so to start, we closed the doors. And then we ran everything out of that front room until we were able to slowly add to the back. And then we had electrical issues. But that's
It's
a
just
whole
going
different
on and
story.
on. Holy
Oh my
moly,
God,
dude,
I
that's-
can tell you nightmares about that type of thing. But
Right.
we made a lot of money there. We made a lot of money. And the only reason we ever moved was because the state took that part took the building for the highway.
Right.
That's the
Right.
only reason we ever moved. That's it.
No, I got
Because it
you.
was we had a great landlord, man. This old man, he was wonderful. He was a wonderful. He's still a wonderful man, but he's very, very old now. He's very geriatric now. But he was wonderful, and he treated us so well. I never had a landlord like that until we got another shop that was they made retail shops out of houses, out of old shotgun style houses, in the arty type area, and that was a good shop for us too. But that guy that owned it, he owned an ass load of property like that, and he had done it all himself, of course, and he was really good to us too.
Good.
But that's what I would have done. I would have just had a smaller location.
For sure.
Yeah, and I would have been more concentrated with what I was doing when it came to that, because, like I said, we started in a flea market, and we just kept expanding until we couldn't go any further, and I need to be open 7 days a week.
Don't blame me, bud.
But
Don't blame you.
I mean, to get started though, man, I still think the flea market's viable.
I'd absolutely agree. Utilize it if you
at
can.
least get your feet underneath you and figure out if you even like it. Because if you don't like it, you just don't pay next week.
Exactly.
Call it a day.
No contract, no nothing. No
No, you can
leases, no
walk.
nothing.
But now, man, some of these flea markets apparently they want you on a month to month contract, and
Oh
they'll make
no.
it even cheaper if you do 3 and 6 months at a time.
Right.
And so there's a lot more to it. But I mean, I still think there's dedicated traffic, especially in this economy.
No, for sure. For sure.
And then that's something else, man, that we didn't even talk about. The economy changes, and that
It's
affects
crazy.
us as retailers.
I have a question.
Go ahead.
Can we still do this? I'm gonna go get the kids, but I'm gonna still be on the video. Is that doable?
Yeah, yeah. As
Yeah.
long as you got internet.
Listen, bud. Listen, y'all. You don't have to worry about it. But I'm a good dad, so I'm gonna go get my kids.
Well, yeah. Well, for a fact, you are.
Yeah, sir. So, but no, but listen, even the economy too. So you have to understand, like, you had mentioned that too. So one thing I'm very concerned about is the raising prices and all resources, like gas, for example. So right now, everything is good. Supply chain is good, but I feel and I predict that there's going to be a supply chain issue coming up very soon with the raising cost of like oil, for example. That affects everything, and in that sense, you're gonna have to think about that. So, once you get established, let's say you get a certain product that your customers really indulge in, like, is that going to be, readily available in the sense of like, is it going to go out of stock for some time? Like, is it going to be like right now? I'm having some issues. So yeah, so
Are
you
you
have to
there?
consider that too. Like, that could be an issue. Eventually, supply chain is going to be a big factor, or not a big factor, but a factor, and that is something that you would want to consider.
Yeah, I mean, I think at some point you almost have to start thinking about the economics of what's going on, because if the economics is affecting you, especially like, think about ground shipping and getting product to you, and costs going up
Correct.
because of the shipping or something like that. You got to remember
Right.
also that the customer, well, man, he's got to fill his tank up too. He's got to eat at Taco
100%.
Bell or McDonald's, and those prices go up too. And maybe they don't have the expendable income just to spend with you.
No, for sure. For sure. So that cuts in too. You got to think about that
Right.
as well too,
Right.
especially like the beginning of the month, end of the month, that people are paying their expenses and whatnot too. Do they have any leftover for your shop? Do they have leftover for anything else that they normally would buy, when they had the funds, before these high rises came about with these, the prices and everything, food, gas, you name it.
Yeah, groceries high too, man. I mean, they got to think about feeding their kids, and going getting their kids from school, and they got to think about having food for them and taking care of them. And I mean, customers are really just people,
Right.
and you got to remember, people have people problems.
Yes.
And so I
That
try
is
to
correct.
think along those lines. And so when people tell me, again, here we go back to it. People tell me how easy this is. We'll see how
No.
easy it is if the people that you're selling to are having a problem paying you.
That will happen.
And then you under a lease, and you under contract with your POS system. You're under contract with your credit card system. You're under you got to have supply for this. What about your utilities? What about your cable? How the hell are you gonna pay all this if ain't nobody coming in?
No, that's for sure.
And I
That is
mean,
for
unless
sure.
you got daddy deep pockets, and you a silver spoon in your mouth, but I don't know about you,
I
G,
mean,
but my dad's passed, and ain't nobody paying for me.
No, same here, my friend. Same here. Thankfully my dad's still around, but he was my initial investor, and from there, after working with him at the convenience store,
Yeah.
that was his gift to me. Here's this. Let's see what you can do, and thankfully here I am. I'm blessed to be where I am today, and after that, it's just one of those things where, like, I have plans for my family too, like and just a little bit about me as well too. I'm also from the country Bangladesh. I'm Bengali, so in our culture, it's one thing to, our parents raise us, but my parents brought me here from nothing, and they built something, and I have some plans for them in the future once, when things turn around a little bit more. So just stay tuned, y'all. Stay tuned, Chad. I'm gonna come
but
see you too.
man, now you were from there. You came from there, correct?
So listen, I was born in Bangladesh, Chittagong, Bangladesh. I came to the States in 1993. We lived in we lived in Parkland, which is Fort Lauderdale, and my family, my mom and dad, my father ran a convenience store in North Miami Beach, Aventura. So he would work there overnights, 24 hours convenience store. Here's my mom, brand new to the country with me and my little brother who was born at Fort Lauderdale General Hospital, Jim. And yeah, here we are. So and then we came to Fort Myers in 1997 and been here since. So,
did you ever watch your dad not go to work?
Oh no, my dad
He
is a
didn't give a damn
hustler.
what y'all thought. He had to go.
Yes, he had no other option. He had to put food on the table.
There we are again, right there, man. There's another good argument. Is that in our industry, there are a lot of immigrants running shops.
100%.
Hey, let me tell you why, and why they're the competition. Because immigrants are built differently than Americans, and they will work regardless. They'll work sick, they'll work hungry. They will just come in and work, and that is where I think American will never ever outshine them ever.
Well, it's something that hopefully that can we all can learn in a sense. Immigrants came here, for a better opportunity if those are the intentions, and basically,
that's how the first immigrants come here for.
100%.
That's what all the white do. When the whites showed up, that's what all they was doing was trying to get a better life.
Right.
And that's what's wrong here, man. And I think a lot of people forget that most Americans are immigrants too.
Right.
But we don't have
I
that
agree.
work ethic now. We're soft.
Unfortunately, it's gone.
Yeah, it's dead. It's dead.
And it is gone.
Yep.
And it's unfortunate, so it goes back to, again, how hungry are you guys? How much do you really want it? And before you ask yourself those questions, are you willing to get yourself in this in this endeavor? Because it's it's a lot. It's not just plug and play or easy.
And there's no floor plan. There's no game plan, no book that you can just pull it out of.
No.
And you can listen to all the motivation you want to, but it's how much work you want to put into it.
Correct.
And it better be more than you think, because I promise you it is more than we thought. It's a lot more work than I mean, man, I made a lot of money selling dope, selling weed. And I made a lot of money doing it before, I had to change my life. And now I'm putting in more work for less money.
Yes.
Yes. And I mean, but it's my money,
Exactly.
and it's my business, and but I don't look at it as my business because I have so many good people that work with me and people that I work with rather than work for me,
Right.
And these guys, they keep me going. They prop me up. They carry me across the finish line every single day. And I'm fortunate to have the crew I have. I am. And, and I know you feel the same way about your bunch too. And so
100%.
we're lucky. We're two lucky dudes, but there's a lot of good people still out here, but they're hard to find.
Yep.
And so it's not going to be one of them things where these new people that are going to open up shops, they think, well, I can find anybody put behind the counter. That's the person that'll ruin your business. That's the person that'll ruin your business or rob you.
Yep. And it's, that in itself too, that the person makes all the difference. Like, it makes a huge difference. Like I said, I just got these new team members on board, a few months ago. And prior to that too, I had a really nice, female working for me, and she's great, and whatnot too. But unfortunately, I just overlooked the fact that she's just not a people person. She wasn't personable. She wasn't inviting. And it's one of those things where it's just very unfortunate that, once I hired these other people and really had to see what else was out there, just kind of opened my eyes, and just like, my sales doubled, tripled almost. And it's one of those things like, wow, it was already here. I just needed the right person to implement and right person to deliver. Is it besides yourself? I mean, unless you're there yourself and really going to deliver to the best of your ability, or learn, or get those experiences. But if you're going to put someone else there to operate the store, they have to be personable. They have to just be welcoming. They have to want to be there. They just can't just be a person, behind the cash register, because they're available, but they don't want to be there, you know?
Right.
And that's when,
Right.
like Chad said, you know, that's when theft happens. That's when, you know, things get, just behind on things like, you know, not proper cleanup. The setups are not clean. Displays are looking dirty, or it's just not well put together. So, you know, you just got to ask yourself all those questions, like, you know, and then you got to find those people. It's not easy. And then when you find those people, you got to pay those people because they're worth something, you know? So,
Hey, and then you gotta tell yourself, you gotta learn about workman's comp. You
Oh,
gotta
goodness.
learn about the insurance. There's so much you gotta learn when it comes. It's not just writing somebody a check, man. It's not.
no, it's not.
Not
Not
follow
at
the
all.
law. I mean, I guess you could skirt the law if you want to, but I mean, you're just begging for trouble, and
Yeah.
you're not going to be able to write off a check that you're going to, hand off to somebody for work and call
Right.
that, employee. It's not going to be. You can't do it.
No,
And
not
you
at
got to
all.
understand the tax laws, and I mean, April 15th. Gee, what did you drop? Too much?
Yes.
Yeah, and so did you hear how quick it was, everybody? Boom, yes. And like he was so disgruntled about paying it, but yet we earned it. And
Yeah.
I understand that. I understand that feeling you just had right then. Yes. I totally understand it right this very second. I understand it. I
Yes,
felt
sir.
it. I felt it. Because we all feel it when we're doing it right.
Appreciate that, man. I mean, it sucks, but I feel
But
it
it's the
too.
name
You
of the
know?
game, man.
That's it, buddy.
But look around. How many tanks have you passed? How many Army checkpoints have you went through on the way to get your kids? None. And
None.
that's the cost. That's the cost, my friend. That's the cost.
It is. It is.
And you ain't running through potholes one after another on your road, and you're looking down the road and there's all kinds of nice cars in front of you or going past you, and if we didn't have and pay for what we have and pay for, we wouldn't see none of that.
No, I agree. Definitely agree.
All right,
You
G,
know?
we coming up on an hour, man. I'm gonna let you get off here and go get your kids, man. I appreciate you doing this, man. I really do. You got any final advice?
Listen, man, just just think things over, take your time with it, don't rush it, just talk it over with your family or whoever else you're gonna do it, run it with, or your partner maybe, and just just listen to your heart, listen to your gut. Usually 9 times out of 10, most of the time, at least for me, I listen to my gut and it's right. If
Always.
it's right. And it's one of those things where if you feel like it's right for you at that moment, then it's right for you, and then just don't rush it. It will happen when it happens. And if it's one of those things where you have a question or anything, like I said, feel free to contact me on Instagram. It's G Smoking More is the name of the Instagram, and so
What
is the
about the
TikTok as
email?
well.
Give them an email.
So you can email me at gsmokeandmore@gmail.com. The word "and" is spelled out AND. And just give me an email. Just tell me your name, and from here, and we'll go from
I'll
there.
put a link. I'll put a link down below how to get a hold of
Okay.
you, man. I won't put
Sure.
your phone number, man, because people like
No,
to
no,
send
no.
dirty pictures and their phone number. But
Nah,
I'll
buddy.
give them an email, and I'll tell them how to contact you, man. And then that way, they can, if they want to reach out and maybe go over some things with you. But
Sure.
he's not gonna bullshit you, man. So
Nope.
so if you wanna lie, or he's the wrong dude to talk to, man. You want somebody that's gonna goof around with you? Wrong guy. He got things to do, man. You see, he got up in the middle of the interview to go get his kids.
Sorry, God.
Yeah, but no, I can't blame you, bro. I can't blame you, man. I can't blame you. All right, G, I
Yeah.
appreciate you doing this, everybody. And thank you all for coming out and being with us. And we'll do it again next time. I'll find some other people. We will
Yes, sir.
continue to do this. And you won't just see it, not just me and G talking crazy. I'll get everybody to tell you the facts and the nightmare that this can be, because this is not simple. And this is not WWE where pimping's easy. And this is
No,
not
sir.
easy here, man. This is not easy. Thanks, G. I appreciate you doing this.
Appreciate you guys. Have a good one.
All right, y'all. Have a good one now.
See ya.
And I'll see you next time.
All good, buddies. Take care.